All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome again, Turning Left with Jason Allen. I am the aforementioned Jason Allen, and always with me is Sir Richard Donin. Hello. Exactly. I think that's the sound everyone was making yesterday.
No kidding.
Terry Shrunk Plaza. No, your eyes and ears are not deceiving you right now. Yes, we are on a Monday, and the simple reason for this is, listen, we're all going to be on special assignment. We're all calling in well on Wednesday because we're going to feel too good to do the show. And so we're going to do a special Monday show today. So hello, happy week start for everybody. Richard, how was your weekend, man?
It was good. Got out and watched the loonies running around and worked on the garden and really didn't do much else, but it was sunny.
So you filled your loon quota, right?
Actually, yeah. Even before Friday.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Holy cow. You know, they had this huge build-up over the week, and it was, you know, I was expecting holocausts of biblical proportions.
Oh, I was
right?
I was looking for, Uzis and blood in the streets and everything because they oversold it as always. It's kind of like the weather here,
Yeah. I just it's one of those things though when I look down the line and you get these people together with these people together, it's gonna
Well, for TV news, explosions are great.
Right, if it bleeds, it leads, right?
Right.
Yep. And so this weekend, folks, there was that sizable demonstration of the alt-right, let's just call them what they are, fascists, neo-Nazis, right? Down at a Terry Shrunk Plaza, and of course, the anti-fascists, or the what I'd like to call is the sane people.
Yeah, I'd go along with that.
And they showed up. Cops stayed pretty much in the middle, kept everything kind of a lid on everything. 14 arrested, but I came away with it, and I watched some of the live footage they had going on, and was kind of not really staying up on it because that sort of stuff when you're watching it just angers me. It gets me mad.
Well,
when you
yeah.
hear the white supremacist guys out there spouting off. It's like my Pavlovian response is to grab a brick.
Well, I always thought rotten eggs were much better than bricks anyway.
That's true. And more malodorous, too.
Oh, definitely, and it's hard to get out of your clothing and your hair and all that good stuff.
That's right. I don't know what the heck is going on, but sometime during the show, I'm going to fix this headset thing, and it's going to be good. It's going to work.
Well, I had a thought, with Amazon, and they have their little delivery drones. Why couldn't somebody have, flown over it and dropped a carton of rotten eggs on the Trumpites?
Oh, that would have been awesome. Drone like stink
So,
bombs,
folks,
right?
if you're out there and you're listening and you have drones that have a carrying capacity of a dozen eggs, put them out in the sun for about 3 days, let them get a little ripe. And then when the next protest comes along that, you aren't in favor of, the fascists or the Trumpites, just give the little copter a spin and bombs away.
That's
Hilarious.
Right. That's right. We got to find some way to utilize the Amazon drones.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Maybe like dumping noxious liquids on them, then drop flyers after it saying compliments of Turning Left. From your friends at Turning Left.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be a good one. I like that.
Because I want to see one of them look up to the sky and shake their fist, Sir Richard.
And I'll be shaking a single finger on the response.
Well, you just tell them that they're number one in your book. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, of course not.
So, Doc, do we have any footage we can actually show up there of some of the, CNN. They had some live footage going on, and you get a little picture of that there, folks. And if you're doing the old video thing right now, you say, hey, look at that. There they are. And for the most part, I really thought it was. I really thought it was going to be much higher than 14. All right. I mean, I thought, oh my God, to get these, you get sane people against the loony bin, and I thought it was just going to escalate into just wow.
Yeah. Well, and the worry was that the loonies were going to be carrying, they're going to be armed to the teeth. Or above their teeth, because most of their teeth are missing.
Well, that too. But that gives them more space to carry ammunition.
Exactly.
And stuff. But, I mean, they're the ones that usually, have my cold, dead fingers,
Right.
And they're going to be carrying guns and stuff. And so I, for good or bad, I thought, man, this just isn't going to end well,
Well, they faked everybody out and decided to be calm in their fascism.
Go figure.
Hey, it's kind of non sequitur when it comes to how they behave and how they behaved.
Right. So one of the things I want to ask you is because I want to get your take on this. Is that now that it's done with, right? At least this round of it,
right?
What do you see going on in the near future? I mean, do you think they're going to try it again?
In Portland?
Yeah.
Oh, it's, for them, it's a stick it in your eye thing.
Yeah.
Because they know that, Oregon, Washington, California are all blue states.
Yeah.
And so, they got heavily outvoted. So, for them, it's just a way to generate the same thing with Don the Con's tweets. It's just a way to generate media to be able to say, see, here we are, folks, so come and join our cause, rather than the media saying, this is a non-starter, folks. If something breaks out, we'll cover it, but to send a 4 news trucks to cover basically nothing,
right?
Just is it's a waste of resources, and it makes the whole situation 14 or 15 times bigger than it really is.
Right. Folks, I'm going to do something now that's highly unorthodox, especially on live streaming video. But screw it. I got to spend the rest of the day, kind of doing this. So hold on, folks. There we go. Screw it. Now I'm comfy.
Oh, good.
All right. Now we're there. So, yeah, I mean, I think that this is just the opening salvo, and I know a lot of people, they breathed a huge sigh of relief that,
there was no violence.
There was no violence. Maybe a little bit of pepper spraying, but for the most part,
Hey, they've been doing that since Vietnam.
And I tell you, I am more afraid now of the second round, because now that people say, oh, it's not going to be so bad, let's put it up, let's kick it up a notch. Right, and I think that's when the trouble happens, and I don't know if they've scheduled any more another round of it, but I got a feeling this ain't going away, man.
No, the anarchists weren't out there. Really, they're the ones that caused most of the problem, and so most of these were just regular folks who were out there to say, hey, we don't believe that hate speech belongs in Portland, and we don't believe that hate groups belong in Portland, and they should go back to wherever they came from.
Right, and like we tackled in the last episode of Turning Left. I'm all for free speech. I mean, I'll defend the right of even someone who's going to be an asshat and say the most absurdly.
Oh yeah, yes, of course. But there's a line, because the Constitution does not protect hate speech.
Right.
And so that line needs to be firmly upheld so that people know which side of the line they're falling on.
I totally agree. Talking about what happened over the weekend, also we had another terrorist attack over there in London.
Right.
They're now resorting to running people over in cars and stabbings and such. I want to get your take on this again too, because when this happened, I said 2 things really came in my mind. One, what sort of Trump tweet is going to be coming out of this?
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And 2, how is he going to spin it into
something about him?
exploit it, right?
That's exactly what he did.
And folks, your president, Donald Trump, did not let us down.
Oh, no. I mean, he tweeted the mayor of London, who happens to be a Muslim, his Sadiq Khan.
Yeah.
And Khan shot back. Actually, he didn't shoot back, but one of his staff did, saying that the mayor has more important things to do than respond to Donald Trump's ill-informed tweet that deliberately takes things out of context. So, I have a feeling that the rest of the world doesn't even bother with Donald Trump's tweets anymore. They've come to the conclusion the guy is an idiot, and or worse, and they're just going to ignore him because he's obviously stated that America is no longer going to be the leader of the free world. It's now going to be ceded to Europe and Germany, which is interesting. And the players that are also in there are China and Putin.
Putin.
Yes, as in putrid.
Right.
He's putrid.
Yeah, but the second half, I thought, oh my gosh, how is he going to use this to exploit whatever he's trying to push? And like I said, he didn't let us down. His first quote, first tweet right off the bat was along the lines of, "See, this proves we need a Muslim ban."
Yeah,
and it just, that sort of just gets to me when someone uses just something of a tragedy, right, to try to bend into whatever you're trying to sell as a snake oil salesman. And the whole, see, I told you I was right. We need to ban all Muslims. And today, I mean, he even took it one step further. This morning, he gets on again and basically says, no, it is a Muslim ban.
Right. So the courts will have no trouble saying,
right.
Don the Con, go back to whatever rock you came out from under, because and he just basically pissed off most of the folks in the United Kingdom.
Right. Yeah. It's appalling when you have, and I shouldn't be surprised. We shouldn't be surprised.
I'm not surprised.
But I still am. I guess I'm not surprised at him because he's going to do dumb stuff. That's what he does. It's what he do. But I'm still appalled that we have a president who says the most idiotic, ignorant things, literally on the heels of tragedies.
Right.
Right. Maybe we just got spoiled with Obama. There's an articulate guy who can string some sentences together and give some cogent, thoughtful, articulate speeches, and then we get it's like we go from Socrates to Jerry Lewis.
I wouldn't even say, how about Benny Hill?
Yeah, but at least Benny had that cool music, and then
that's true.
Little Jackie, right? It'd speed up everything. I mean, at least he had that. I mean, now we just, what's even worse? Maybe Shecky Green. Do we got he's like the
actually, there's no comedian that even he's not a. That's the issue, is he's not a comedian.
Yeah.
He's doing this not to be funny, but to allow his demented Alzheimer-addled brain run amok.
Right.
Because that's all it's ever done.
Can we, Doc, put up those tweets there real quick and show the people just exactly what our president decided he wanted to throw out of his pie hole, I love that. In any event, we are extreme vetting. He's got these all in capitals. Oh, my gosh, that's dramatic. Coming into the U.S. in order to help keep, our country safe. Sorry, it's far away, and I've got crappy eyes. And the courts are slow and political. Oh, gosh. Donald.
He doesn't have a clue about how our American system of government actually works.
You see, that's right. He's so fundamentally ignorant about all the different the different parts in the machine that makes the whole system work. That he just why can't we throw the Christians to the lions? How dare you? Yeah, I've never seen a person so woefully and willfully ignorant on elementary school civics.
Well, it's like he never went. Yeah, took civics in high school, took it in grade school. He just because he doesn't care. He doesn't care. The only thing Don the Con cares about is Don the Con. Everything else is worthless.
Right, and it's hard, especially when you're like when you're like us. We're the talking pundits or whatever, and we want to talk about progressive issues, right? We want to talk about good, substantive stuff that affects people's lives, but we have to spend our time talking about this crap because we've got Agent Orange in the White House.
Exactly.
And I just. I mean, Richard, I think I may be crying on your shoulder for the next 4 years. Talk me down from the ledge, please.
Yeah,
because
anytime.
Yeah, thank you. But just the tweets, and they just don't stop, the Justice Department should ask, right, for expedited here. I can't even continue with that, the travel ban. And the funny thing is, I guess, he at least, the one thing I can say in his favor, and I'm digging deep here.
You must be, because we're talking a hole about 14 feet deep,
and then some.
And then some, yeah.
But at least now, I guess there's no pretense. Everything. I mean, he's laid it all out on Main Street. It is a travel ban.
Oh yeah.
I blame my own community. My own communications people for watering it down and not saying what it really is. So if it walks like a fascist, talks like a fascist,
smells like a fascist,
that new fascist smell,
it's a fascist.
It's a fascist. And so he literally comes right out in front of everyone and says, yes, we want to ban certain people of a certain religion. And this is where we are in America in 2017. Thank you for tuning in and getting caught up with us. But I feel like now we've hey, I wasn't alive in the 30s, but I got a feeling this is what it kind of felt like,
Oh yeah. In fact, if it hadn't been for Churchill in the 30s converting all of the battleships and the Navy to diesel oil instead of coal, it could have gone the other way.
Right. Yeah. And it amazes me, and yeah, I know as a talk show dude or something, you can't just dead air, right? It's
right.
But really, I mean, some of the stuff is so just it makes you just
yes, yes. It's the chin on the ground thing.
And part of the reason I can't believe we're actually here at this point, right?
Well, it's because people. He got voted in for one of two reasons. One, pure and simple racism.
Yeah.
And two, the economic disparity that left so many people behind. So it was very simple, but race was number one.
Yeah. And he stoked a lot of fires, whether it be racial or even simple sort of class sort of, hey, look at these liberal elites in Washington and on the coasts. We need to stick it to them, right? And a lot of the guys who are hurting in the Rust Belt, guys and gals that are hurting in the Rust Belt, they saw that as, hey,
it's hook, line, and sinker.
But it's still... maybe it's me, all right, and I'm going to go off on a little tangent here for a second, but I've never understood how people can look to a billionaire as their savior of the common man.
Well, it's, it's because billion starts with a B, just like BS does.
Right. So let's blame it all on the letter B tonight.
Yeah, tonight's letter is like Sesame Street. Today's letter B stands for bowel.
Yes.
Bowel. And boy.
Yep, yeah.
Bowel, boy.
And bull.
Yes, that was going to be the third one, but we'll let the audience figure out what the bull.
Yeah.
is saying.
It's a family show.
Yes, well, we try to keep it, the expletive deleted's down to a dull roar.
Right, PG-13.
Exactly.
So there's the Trump tweets over the weekend. The other one of the other big news stories was, Trump decided he's going to pull us out of the old Paris Climate Accord.
Hey, you know, I have a real feeling that's the only thing Trump has ever pulled out of.
Folks, that is innuendo. Yeah, but with
a little truth thrown on top of it.
With a whole lot of truth piled on top of it, yeah. So, yeah, he decided he's going to pull us out of the Paris climate deal.
And that was Bannon's doing.
I couldn't agree with you more. I smell Bannon all over this.
Yeah, because I don't think Donald actually can understand what climate really is.
Right.
I mean, for him, is it raining outside? That's climate. Well, actually, Don, unfortunately, you've got your head up where the sun doesn't shine again.
Right. And you think that's just the manure in the flower beds.
Right.
But the funny thing was, look where he's come from. Here is a guy that not too far in the distant past was saying such obscure and wacky things of the climate change and global warming are just tools of the Chinese.
Right. It was a Chinese conspiracy to overthrow the American government. And actually now China's looking at us and going, geez, we don't want that crap.
Right.
We're going to stick to doing what we're doing and have 2 billion people who are happy that we're doing the right thing for them. And we'll let America kind of toddle off just like the British did after World War II.
Right. And so we join, now that we're pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, we join such illustrious ranks as what? Venezuela.
Right.
And who's the other one? Probably North Korea?
No, actually, North Korea signed the Paris Agreement.
Oh, great, Don. You pulled out of something that even Kim Jong-un said, it doesn't sound so bad. Oh, Don. So who's the other one? There's
I can't. It doesn't. Most of the industrialized world signed on to it a long time ago.
Right, Upper Slobovia or something.
Yeah. But it's interesting that California and mayors and governors from lots of states are saying, we're going to keep working towards the Paris agreements, lowering carbon emissions, taxing the hell out of coal and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it's some of the people who rushed to his defense, like who was it? Former Senator Rick Santorum of Pennsylvania was saying, solar is just not reliable because it gets dark here. And I'm going, Rick, obviously you never passed the 3rd grade. Of course it gets dark at night, but other renewable resources don't go off the grid because it's dark.
I love that. It gets dark here, dude. Rick Santorum.
Mental midget at best.
Did he win the Putts of the Week this week?
Actually, no, he didn't. I'll give him a number 2 on it. He's the number 2 Putts of the Week award winner. Just for being childish and ignorant.
Could we at least give him honorable mention?
Sure. I'll give him more than honorable mention. I'll give him a finger.
There you go. There you go. Just number 1. That's all good. Look out for number 1, but don't step in number 2.
Yeah, exactly. You can't scrape it off your brain.
So, a lot of people are asking about this. They're saying to themselves, why on earth would he want to pull out of the climate deal? And there's been, some articles that have tried to tackle it. And so let me ask you this, Sir Richard. Let me get your educated take on this.
Okay.
Why do you think, except for the loony sort of out there Chinese manipulating whatever, why would a Bannon or something think that this is a good idea? Is it just to deconstruct and stick it to people? Or?
Well, it's partly that, and the other part is he made a promise to his deplorable base that he was going to do that, and so by pulling out, and he's telling them that the Paris Peace Accords means that they're going to tell us what to do, and we have to follow their which has nothing. There is nothing in the Paris Peace Accords that says the member signatory countries have to do anything. It's a voluntary cap on emissions. Voluntary. It's not mandatory. Right. You don't have Switzerland saying, hey, you're burning too much coal, so stop it or we're going to freeze all your assets. No, that's not what it's about. So he misinterpreted literally everything because he didn't ever read it.
He read the coloring pop-up book version of it.
Oh, I bet you he didn't even read that because, coloring in the lines for him is like, well, as long as the whole color is orange, I'm good.
That's right. According to Don, the Crayola markers only come in one color.
Yes, orange.
Well, actually, there's many. There's orange, there's tangerine.
There's light orange.
Light orange.
Dark orange.
Dark orange.
Yes, sun-kissed orange.
Sun-kissed orange, yes. But to me, I'm going to throw this theory at you, right? And I want you to get your take on this. I think it's personal. I think that Trump, for some reason, dislikes our former president Barack Obama so bad that he literally wants to erase every sort of the past president's agenda or any accomplishments.
I agree with that, but unfortunately he's too stupid to realize that historians, it already went down in history. Yeah. They're not going to erase anything. What's going to happen is people are going to, in historical perspective, they're going to look at him and go, what a moron. Yeah. He thought that he was going to be King Don the Con and simply rewrite all the history books. And it's not going to happen.
What do you mean everyone doesn't like me? Come on. But no, I truly, honestly believe, though, and you can see this going back through the old, let's call it the Trump timeline, right?
Right.
I mean, he gains his entrance onto the political scene by pushing this birther crap.
Right.
And he just seems to, for whatever reason, and maybe it's racial.
His parents were Ku Klux Klan members. They got pictures of Don the Con standing behind them with brown hair, right. And then they both have their little whatever they call
brown
them.
hair and the brown shirts.
Right. They have their little white overcoats on, and he is an avowed racist. He just hasn't come out and said it because he knows that that wouldn't go over so well. But look at what he said. He said Mexicans are this, and Asians are that, and these people are this, and that. So he is the last of the white supremacist types that really started the Civil War.
Right, because from everything from the birther, then you have his just incessant sort of, he tapped my phones. He tapped my phones. He's surveilling everything. He's like this huge, deep-seated racial hatred for President Obama.
And not to mention his own, psychological profile of being nuts.
Right, yeah. And listen, I'm going to say something, and I know that the Trumpers out there right now, you're watching, you're going to get picked off with me, and that's fine. I think that's why a lot of people liked it. I think a lot of people didn't like Obama because it was a racial thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think they never really sat down and examined their own conscience enough to actually, well, yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe I just don't like, maybe I don't like him.
I think it was, I don't even think they sat down to examine the issue. It was what we call knee-jerk honky.
Honky, right? Yeah. There's something I haven't heard. That's awesome. It's an ugly word. I don't know if I want to bring that back. Hey, let's bring back honky.
It actually applies.
It does.
But then most people don't know what it means anyway, so I'm not going to explain it.
So many other things apply too. We have Mango Mussolini. We got Agent Orange.
Yep.
We got Cheeto Hitler or Cheeto Jesus, or one of my favorites is Dorito Man.
Dorito Man.
And
Da, 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 da.
I love that. Did you see the photo the other day? Is he was walking into the door, and the wind was blowing a little bit, and his hair blows up, and you can see a spray tan.
Oh, sure.
Oh, it's like that is precious.
Well, if if you look on the internet anywhere,
Yeah.
most of the photographs of him are not what one would call flattering.
Yeah.
He's angry. He's looks like deer in the headlights. He just he has ruined the respect for the office.
You see, that is another depressing part of all of this. Is there? I mean, there's even a word to describe it, right? And then part of the Mexican lexicon. When you're using very solemn gravitas, right? You are presidential,
Right.
And now he's just taken us into some buffoonish vaudevillian sort of. I don't know. I mean,
Bozo the Clown, and with apologies to Bozo.
right, as I already say, please don't besmirch the good name of Bozo over this. But dovetailing back into the Paris Climate Accords, I don't understand why this was. I know it was a campaign promise. And I know he was throwing red meat to his base. But with all the other stuff that's going on and all the other agendas he's got, it was why? Why did you have to selectively go after this?
Because
just to stick it to.
That plus he wanted the coal miners. He wanted the coal miner votes. He wanted the fossil fuel votes. He wanted the Koch brothers to go, oh, yippee skippy, listen, we have our guy in power now.
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to pump and burn fossil fuels like there's no tomorrow, and we'll make even more billions. So, folks, boycott Chevron.
Yeah.
Anything that has Koch, and I used to call it something else, attached to it.
The Koch brothers?
The Koch brothers, yes. And you notice the white powder under their noses when they take pictures.
Yeah, the KOCH turns into COKE.
Yeah.
But where was I going with this? Yeah, interesting number I saw the other day, and they're talking about the coal the coal industry. He's trying to throw it out there for them. Did you know that Arby's hires more employees than the whole coal industry?
Oh, hey, yes. Not only that, the solar industry has 3 times the number of employees that the coal industry does.
Yeah.
And most of the coal that's in Pennsylvania and West Virginia and those areas, has been shrinking so rapidly that most of the coal now is actually mined in the Four Corners and Wyoming and that area.
Right, yeah. Whereas we used to think of it as like West Virginia.
Right, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, old deep mine coal country.
Right. So there's more people working for Arby's than the coal industry.
It's going to continue that way. I thought there was an interesting thing in the news, speaking of climate change, is that Saudi Arabia now owns 100% of one of the largest refineries in the United States. So they're trying to build a vertical hierarchical system, so where they pump the oil, they send it over here, it gets refined in their factory. Yeah. So they're making money along the way way past the $1 billion a day we send them.
Right, and so it kind of rings hollow, buy American.
Right, which means buy dirt.
Right.
Dirty air, dirty water, dirty people.
Dirty people, especially after pulling out of a climate accord where everything is going to be dirty.
Well, and it just seeds it just seeds the leadership again away from the U.S. to set policy. So the rest of the world's going to go, these guys are bozos. We don't need to follow them for anything. So let's hose them at every chance we get because it's all about money.
Right. And to switch gears here a little bit, I mean, if you're driving down the road, right, and you're just driving along and, maybe you got the radio on, sunny day out, and then you hit a giant pothole and you say, my God, when are they going to fix the friggin' potholes? And so I was kind of intrigued when people started sniffing around saying, maybe we would do an infrastructure deal, right? Maybe we'll get the roads a little bit better. Maybe we'll update some of the bridges. We'll just, Right. And I thought, well, with such the toxic level in D.C. and around the country, I was like, how in the heck are they even going to reach an accord for that?
Well, they're not, because the money is the issue. And so they're not going to, Congress might try to put a tax cut in for the wealthy 1%, but that's going to rip the Treasury to shreds, and where are they going to get the money to improve the infrastructure?
I agree. And then you hear the story this morning that comes out that, Trump wants to privatize air traffic controllers.
Right. Does that smell of Reagan or what?
I think so, yeah.
Because they went on strike when Reagan was there, and he fired them all and put a bunch of other people in. But they were still federal employees because the FAA has control over airlines in terms of all the traffic control. That's all the FAA.
Right.
So to put a company in there, what are they going to do? Well, to maximize profit, they're going to have to cut the number of traffic air controllers and dwindle down the oversight of the FAA.
That's exactly right. So that is a great point, and one of the things I was going to talk about here is that they would say, geez, Jason, why wouldn't privatizing the air traffic controllers be a good idea? Well, number one, the FAA has certain regulations of oversight to make sure that everything is done in a safe manner, right?
Right. Well, and you take a look at the number of really nasty air accidents in America this last year. I don't think there was one.
I don't think so either.
And so really what you're doing is playing havoc with the people that have 400 people on board. And, the pilot was out drinking last night, but they changed the FAA rules. So, we'll let him fly anyway. And it's another place where the wrong solution is given to a non-existent problem.
Exactly, because the companies they go by one thing and one thing only, and that is the bottom line. Okay, they are looking out for themselves as far as profit margins, and any corners that they can cut to achieve that for their stockholders, they're going to do. And that's fine and dandy when you're in either the retail business or you're in another sort of mercantile type of operation. But when you have something that is very fragile as air traffic controlling and the technology and the people and the training and everything that goes into it, when you start cutting those corners, those have very real, tangible effects. And so I want you to think about that and take that forward a little bit, stick a little pin in that, right? And think about maybe next year or the year after when, you guys, well, hey, let's fly to Vegas.
Right.
We can do that. We can hop in the old turning left Learjet and head down to Vegas, sipping cocktails and rapping with movie stars. And then find out, the trust that you put in for the air traffic controllers, well, they're just operating on a little different guideline there. And so suddenly it's not so abstract anymore because when you're at 30,000 feet, you're putting a lot of faith in a lot of different people to make sure you're going to get to where you're going.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's just like, let's privatize the police force.
Yeah. Right. Then we turn into Blackwater, right? Or one of those mercenary outfits.
Yes. And so, there's some things that government does better than the private sector.
Exactly.
And it's always been that way. That's why, the classic thing that I always tell people always say, well, we have all these rules and regulations. Well, why do we have those rules and regulations? Because the private sector screwed people over horribly. Yeah. They polluted air, they polluted the water. They didn't care about anything other than their quarter shareholder report. And that's why you have all these environmental regulations, you have business regulations, banking regulations, airline regulations.
Yeah, deregulating bank rules and regulations, and we saw where that led back in 2008.
The Great Recession.
You know, and you're right, because business is always worried about bottom line, whereas government can be worried about public safety and welfare.
And if businesses were more attuned to public safety, they wouldn't put out faulty products. They would go, hey, you know, you wouldn't see so many recalls. Gosh, you go into Costco and you go over near where the return area is, and you see a telephone book of products that have been recalled because they've got salmonella or they're dangerous or a kid died choking on a part or something. So if the companies did due diligence with their products, this wouldn't happen. They wouldn't be so regulated. They caused it themselves, their own stupidity and ignorance. Because basically I'm a capitalist. I believe that capital flowing in the right directions with some reasonable oversight does work. However, when it becomes rampantly obvious that companies don't care for people, then you have a real problem.
I totally agree, and we have no concept of that, is because we have all grown up with the idea that there is going to be at least some level, some government or oversight into it to make sure that the robber barons and the corporate suits don't cut corners to where it hurts people.
Well, yeah, and I think Big Pharma is a perfect example. We have an opioid epidemic in the United States, and why? Because they pushed opiates.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with really curing people's pain. It was like, oh, I have a hangnail. Give them a 30-day subscription to whatever. OxyContin, it'll fix that.
It's funny. I had allergies, and they sent me home with Vicodin. I don't know why this happened, but it did.
Well, I put it on my forehead and didn't seem to do any good.
Right, the little patches.
Yes.
All right, let's jump ahead now, folks. I am eager and I'm excited. I want to hear about what Sir Richard has for this week and his kernels of knowledge to enrich all of your lives.
Well, let's see. Today's world's greatest Putts of the Week award goes to the Saudis, the Egyptians, and a whole bunch of other of the Middle Eastern countries who have decided that they found their scapegoat in Qatar. Yeah. Because they have said that, well, all the money that goes to terrorists is going through Qatar, which is actually not true. And so they have cut all ties with Doha, which actually is the capital of Qatar. Yeah. And so they're trying to make them the centerpiece of, hi, we're the good guys because we're cutting all these guys. And if you look at who did it, it was Egypt, run by a dictator. It was Saudi Arabia, run by a king dictator.
Yeah.
All these folks. And so they have found a scapegoat that everybody outside of Europe will go, well, that's great. They're actually, trying to do something good. Not really. They're trying to cover their rear ends because most of look at 9/11. Right. They were all from Saudi Arabia. Bin Laden, Saudi Arabia. Right. Most of the money that ISIS gets, Saudi Arabia.
Exactly, yeah.
So, it's just smoke and mirrors, folks.
It's a giant shell game.
Oh, my God, yes. Smoke and mirrors, so the last thing they want to do is endanger their oil sales.
Right.
And really, my attitude has, if the American people just stop driving for 3 days, the Saudis would go and have fits and conniptions because the price of oil would sink so low because all of a sudden there's an overabundance. I know it sounds crazy. 3 days. 3 days would cause a glut on the market.
You're talking crazy talk now.
Hey, I would like to see people just, hey, let's walk everywhere for a change. Take mass transit, bicycle. Let's not run our cars on fossil fuels.
Ooh, Sir Richard, I have an idea. This may seem far on left field. How about really exploring renewable energy?
Well,
Is that crazy?
No, not since, let's see, I think I was talking about it in the mid-70s, whatever.
Yeah.
But I look at it like this. The writing on the wall is there when Tesla is valued over General Motors on the stock market.
Right.
That says that the people who are investing long term know where the investments are. So they're going to go to wind power. All the things that the old guard, like Koch and those guys, don't want, they are fading in the wind.
I agree, and they're just trying to do whatever they can until their day is done.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to hoard all this stuff and screw everybody else.
And then they have a pliant tool in our current president.
Oh, I would say puppet is closer than tool, but yeah.
Ooh, let's go with puppet. I like puppet.
Hey, it's Putin's puppet.
I know, because I know Doc loves a good puppet show. Doc, you love a good puppet show, right?
Shadow.
The silence speaks volumes. He was trying to stay incognito. I was going to ask for a little photobomb there. And
the other interesting thing I saw in the news is that Jared Kushner was being interviewed on CNN. Yeah. The interviewer asked him about, what does Donald really think of people? And he said, he just knows the Republicans are stupid and they'll buy anything. He actually said that on camera, even though people had attributed that to Don before. Now it becomes real. So he just called all the Republicans who voted for him stupid.
Right. Isn't Kushner, though, isn't he a card-carrying, he's a Democrat, right?
I think he's a card-carrying, one percenter.
Right. Well, that's beside the point.
I don't think party means anything to him. It's the Greenbacks is his party.
That's very true. That's true, yeah. Okay, let's skip ahead now. Cause of the week. Sir Richard?
I'm ready for Cause of the Week.
Excellent. This week, of course, is the Northwest Family Services. Let's throw that on up there if we have something we can throw up on the old screen as I'm reading along. The Northwest Family Services is an award-winning leading provider of creative services that reduce poverty. Since 1983, their mission has supported individual success, family stability, and child well-being. Programs and services include youth programs, professional counseling, couples classes, parenting, money management, job readiness, and placement. Healthy relationship education, and so much more. Services are offered in the greater Portland metro area in both English and Spanish. With more than 30 years of experience in education and social service, NWFS has a deep commitment to the success of youth and families. Northwest Family Services served more than 20,000 youth, teens, and adults in 2014. So there you go, folks. If you want to help out the Northwest Family Services and get involved, you can do that. All you got to do is go to www.nwfs.org. Or if you want to call them on the phone, you can do that. And that phone number is 503-546-6377. Once again, 503-546-6377. Or if you are like me and a Luddite and you want to go see these people in person, you can do that. And all you got to do is go to 6200 Southeast King Road. Right here in Portland, 97222. 6200 Southeast King Road, Portland, 97222. Cause of the week. Get up there, help them out because they do a fantastic job, and it's always good to pay it forward.
We need a chorus line of Luddites. Wouldn't it be fine? Luddites kind of doing a chorus line.
Bring in the Luddites! They come in, off the left, and okay, I'm already thinking of a whole Broadway thing here. We got to move on before we get to the numbers. Hey, give me a B, a bouncy B, and then That's right. All right. Anyway, turning left book endorsement this week, and it's a good one. It's Rebel Mother by Peter Andreas. It is the intimate true story of a boy on the run with his mother as she abducts him to South America in search of the revolution. Carol Andreas was a traditional 1950s housewife from a small Mennonite town in central Kansas who became a radical feminist and Marxist revolutionary. From the late 60s to the early 80s, she went through multiple husbands and countless lovers while living in 3 states and 5 countries. She took her youngest son, Peter, with her wherever she went, even kidnapping and running off to South America after his straight-laced father won a long and bitter custody battle. And it is for a memoir and a autobiography sort of book. It is very poignant and very interesting. She helped causes down in Peru and other South American countries. Barely got out of Chile when Allende.
Pinochet.
Yes, and when he took over, and she barely made it out by the skin of her teeth. But it's really from the look of a kid who's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, of what it was like being drugged around all the third world. So it's an interesting book. Rebel Mother by Peter Andreas. That is your Turning Left book endorsement for June 5th, 2017. I know we're coming up hard against it there, Sir Richard. What do we have going on this weekend? What's going on? Week?
This week, more drivel from the White House.
Yeah.
And less drivel from Congress, but they are doing their slow-mo dance towards impeachment.
Right.
The only good thing is it became a criminal investigation, and I am sure that Don is going to bamboozle up more stuff so that he just makes his own case worse.
Right. Two big folks, two big events coming up this week you'll probably want to watch in on is Wednesday, the head of the NSA goes up, and there was a story written this morning out of the New York Times. Behind the scenes, there are multiple sources saying that the gentleman from the NSA, I believe, what is his last name? Kelly?
Yes.
He is going to drop a bomb. I guess there's something big coming down the line.
Yes. How do we? It's back to Sesame Street. How do we spell collusion? It's a big C.
Right. It's like the count. Give me a C.
Exactly.
And of course, then on Thursday we got Comey coming up.
It's gonna be blood in the streets because Jeff Sessions is gonna go because he actually had a felony for lying on his his securities, which what a doofus.
Well, yeah. Now he's up to 3 meetings with the Russians,
right?
And who knows how many more are gonna come.
I'm waiting for the waterfall that would make Watergate look like a trickle out of your tap.
Somebody cue Led Zeppelin when the levee breaks, because that could be that could be apropos.
So it's going to be interesting. For most part, I don't think his own base is going to go, it's just phony news, and it's just phony Congress, and then it's the phony Supreme Court.
Yeah.
However, the moderate Republicans, which there are a bunch in Oregon, I know several people, independents who actually swung the election, and the people who have been saying all along that this, we got tampered with, let's have a new election.
Yeah.
It's going to solidify those groups into saying, we screwed up.
Because you're right. Like you said a little bit earlier, it is a slow dance, and government sometimes works achingly slow as it glacially proceeds in its search for truth and justice. But I believe in the not-too-distant future, I think we're going to get our first glimmering of the fire to the smoke, right? We're going to get our first little show that there's something a little bit behind these accusations of collusion and obstruction of justice and so forth. And I'm kind of interested now, ever since the New York Times this morning wrote that article and said, hey, there's some serious back chatter going on, that this guy's going to come in and he's going to lay down something.
Well, when when Don the Con's own people start lawyering up, that, the stink has hit the fan, because the same thing happened with Nixon.
Right, when he started getting his own personal counsel and stuff, once anyone starts lawyering up, it's because they're expecting, if it's a mob movie, they're expecting to go to the mattresses, right?
Right.
And so, folks, keep your noggin and your eyes focused this week for the NSA and also Jim Comey. We'll see how that all shakes out. Of course, since we're on today, Monday, there will not be a Wednesday show. We are all on special assignment. We're on, I would like to tell you what we're going to do, but...
and that's a secret, sorry.
It is. It's a state secret. It's on a need-to-know basis.
You'd be breaching the confidentiality agreement that we signed with the FCC.
Right. Listen, if we had to tell you, Sir Richard would have to kill you, and we don't want that sort of...
Actually, I wouldn't have to kill anybody. I just know people.
Listen, he knows people.
Yeah, one phone call,
and
the enforcer knocks on your door and said, hey, I'm here to bend your pastrami.
Right. Hey. So, Mr. Guido, thank you for stopping. What do you have that in your pocket? Oh, but anyways, folks, we will not be here Wednesday. We'll be back the week after that, and by then, I think the picture will
be a lot clearer
and a lot different. I mean, the news cycle is almost like down to the minute now, right? Where something else is going on. So, who knows what's going to happen by next Wednesday? It could be a whole new landscape.
One can only hope.
So, folks, take it easy this week. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't freak out. But please watch the news. Stay informed. History is moving maybe quicker now, and you need your eyes on the prize and head in the ball game.
Like the Beatles said, it's getting better all the time.
It is. Hopefully.
I'm hopeful.
All right, folks. For all of us here at the beautiful and palatial NuzBox studios, this is Turning Left with Jason Allen and Sir Richard.
Yeah, hey.
And Doc Normal in the back doing his thing. We will see you all again next week. Arrivederci.